So again, we'll kind of go back over this again for you real quick. So again, the shooting happened in March of 2023. It was in downtown Jackson, where the streets were full of people attending the Howe's St. Paddy Day parade. The victims in the shooting are Joshua Spann, and here is Joshua right here for you on the screen. This is Joshua Spann. He was 27 years old when he lost his life on that day. And the other victim is Alden Jubilee Simpkins, and she was 23 years old when she lost her life on that day. The person who was arrested for this, Jordan Cummons, this is him on your screen right here. And he is the one who is being charged and was indicted on 2 first-degree murder charges. He was indicted in May of 2023. So initially, when he was first arrested back in March of 2023, he was denied bond in the double homicide. Well, then his attorney filed a motion for bond, saying that his client does recognize the seriousness of this offense with which he has been charged, but firmly believes he has vigorous, viable defenses to said charges. So that bond motion for bond was put into place or filed in June or July of 2023. On July 5th, though, Circuit Judge Faye Peterson awarded a $250,000 bond, secured bond for Jordan Cummons. There were grounds for his bonds. He had a curfew that he had to adhere to. He was not allowed to be around certain people, but he was released on bond. He also pled not guilty to these 2 accounts, or these 2 counts of murder. So in July of 2023, at the end of July, he was able to bond out of Hinds County, but he was then transferred to Rankin County on some separate charges, and it was a separate charge of simple assault. We don't have the details on that simple assault, but we know that he was transferred there at the end of July of 2023. Well, the Hinds County DA went back before the judge in January of 2024 after having a private eye follow Jordan, and discovered that Jordan was not adhering to the terms of his bond. So on January 5th, the Hinds County DA asked the judge to revoke the bond and said, quote, "The defendant is in willful and obstinate violation of the terms of his bond release." And Assistant DA, the Assistant DA, Gwen Agho, wrote this, so that he has knowingly, willfully, and continuously associated himself with defendant Jenny Lukens and violated his curfew despite this court's order. So Jenny Lukens was arrested in this, and she, she was charged. I'm getting it pulled up right now so I can let you guys know. So Jenny Lukens was arrested and indicted in June of 2023 for hindering a prosecution for her alleged role in the shooting deaths on March the 25th. So the Hinds County grand jury indicted both Jenny Lukens and Jordan Cummons, and Jordan was not allowed to be around Jenny with his bond, and the private eye that was hired by the Hinds County DA discovered that he was around her several nights. They had witnessed him coming home from work, going to her home, leaving work from her home, things such as that. So what happened with that is that the judge did end up revoking his bond in February of 2024. So now we are to today, where the trial has started. The jury was picked out yesterday. It has 6 men, one of them being white, 6 women, and 2 alternatives, with both of the alternatives being women. So in court on Monday, when they were picking out the jury, the prosecution said that it could call more than 50 witnesses to the stand to testify, and the defense only plans to call 2 people to the stand. So the first on stand today was Ty Parker. Court began around 9 o'clock this morning. But Ty Parker was the first one on stand. She is with the Mississippi Bureau of Investigations, and she just basically went over the evidence that she collected that day. How she records the evidence that is collected, and basically just went over that this morning. Then, or later on in the morning today, the second person called to stand was Jordan Jagger. Jordan, according to her testimony, is saying that she spent the morning with Jordan at the parade, that they went to an alcohol or a spirit store before to go to get some alcohol, and it was her and several other people. It wasn't just her and Cummons, but she testified that she allegedly witnessed Cummons becoming violent with a female, yelling, asking for his gun, saying that he was going to put this expletive down flat. These are things that Jordan reported on the stand today, Jordan Jagger. So while she was doing her testimony, the judge did end up recessing for lunch a little bit before 12, and said that they would be coming back at 1:30 today. So we're just kind of giving you a review of this case and what has happened in from the day that the crime happened up until today in this trial. We do have Quentin Smith, who is there in the courtroom following this all day long and keeping us informed. And you'll be able to watch his story tonight on our newscast to find out, or to get a recap of what happened today. But as soon as the jury comes back in, or we come back alive for this case, we're going to take you back into that courtroom so that you can watch it and see what is happening there for yourself. We're going to be here on this end of it, keeping an eye and watching the trial and trying to give you guys some updates in it. But that's where we're at right now, waiting for the judge and jury to get back into the courtroom so that it can be taken out of recess. Again, that's supposed to happen here in the next few minutes. So the person who is being accused of killing the two people that day on March 25th is Jordan Jagger, and here he is on your screen again. He's in his 20s, in his mid-20s. So he is accused of killing Joshua Spann here. He was 27 years old. Joshua was a volunteer firefighter, and this is him in his gear there. But he passed away that day, and he was just 27 years old. The other victim of that shooting was Aiden Jubilee Simpkins, 23 years old. She lost her life that day in that shooting. So we're waiting for the judge to come back. And we told you initially when he was arrested, he was denied bond, and then bond was granted. He was able to get out of jail, but then his bond was revoked because he was not following the grounds for his bond, the terms rather. He was seen with a person, another defendant in this case, Jenny Lukens. He was not allowed to be around her. He also violated his curfew, and they caught all that. So the judge then revoked his bond. That happened in February of this year, 2024. So today, the jury is set to hear the case. We have a jury of 6 men, with one of them being white, and 6 women, and 2 alternatives who are both women. So the court said yesterday that they could call more than 50 witnesses to the stand to testify. The defense only plans to call 2 people. On the stands this morning was Ty Parker with the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation. She was the first on stand. And then they called Jordan Jagger on stand. She was there that day with Cummons and talking about things that she witnessed and saw, or allegedly witnessed and saw that day. She's giving that testimony before the court, saying that she witnessed Cummons becoming violent with a female, that he was at one point screaming for someone to give him his gun, that he was going to put these expletives down flat. And so now we're just waiting for the judge to come back, for the jury to come back, and Jordan Jagger will take the stand again to continue her testimony. So we're waiting here. I see you guys are tuning in here with us on our Facebook, and some of you are saying lock him up. Well, Kevin, I believe he is still incarcerated after his bond was revoked in February. Then Tora Shane said that this was not self-defense. He was on video laughing in jail about these murders. No remorse at all. Throw away the key. You know, we do have where it was reported that he was caught on video there. Let me get that pulled up for you guys so I can tell you what happened with that. If he was caught on video saying, but they said was some very disturbing things. So here we go. He was caught in Hinds County Sheriff Tyree Jones. It said he was taking action after this video from a jail cell, the video that the sheriff finds very disturbing. In the video, and this happened in March of 2023, in the video, it shows Jordan Cummons saying, "Free me, man. You walk up on me, I'm going to bust your expletive to dead." So that's what it shows in the video. Sheriff Jones says that he was aware of the video, finds it very disturbing, and when they were notified about the video, they acted very promptly. So that is what the video that was reported here said, what he said in it. "Free me, man. You walk up on me, I'm going to bust your expletive." And then he said, "to dead." So that was caught, and he was 27 years old. That's it. Cummons is 27 years old. He is from Florence, and he was apprehended just after the shooting happened on a Saturday in March 23rd, which killed Joshua Spann and Alden Simpkins. This happened in front of the Mississippi State Fairgrounds around 1 o'clock. So that is what they caught. That's what they have on video of him. And he did, of course, after that happened, he ended up getting a bond. But then he was found to be going against the terms of his bond, breaking the rules, and he was taken back into custody. His bond was revoked. So now we're watching for the trial to continue. So if you guys have any questions, you are more than welcome to put them in the comments here. We are live on Facebook. We are also live on our YouTube page, as well as our website, Wlbt. You can download the First Alert app, or the web news app, and get notifications when we get breaking news, when we get updates on this trial. And of course, right now you'll be able to watch this trial as it happens live. Again, the jury is on recess right now. The jury consists of 6 men, 6 women, and 2 alternatives, both of those alternatives being women. The prosecution said yesterday in court that they could call more than 50 witnesses to the stand to testify. And the defense only plans to call just 2 people to the stand. First on stand this morning was Ty Parker. She is with the MBI, and she was on stand first. And then they had Jordan Jagger on stand. And Jordan Jagger was someone who was there at the parade with Jordan Cummons, the man accused, and several other people that day. And she is testifying to what she witnessed and what she saw that day, coming from the accused murderer, Cummons, as well as the rest of the group that was there with them. So let's see. Stephen Henson has asked, so why was there a phone in the jail cell? Or are we not going to address that? And I don't know. We weren't given that information. They do have times where phones can be smuggled in. So maybe that's what it was. We're not sure, but that is what we did find. Now, the video that was taken of him says that he was seen from a jail cell. Doesn't necessarily say that he was on a cell phone. He was in a jail cell. So that's where the video was taken, and showing him saying, "Free me, man. You walk up on me, I'm going to bust your expletive to dead." So that's the video that we are talking about. That was taken March the 27th, or at least that was discovered and reported on March the 27th. So watching here and waiting the trial, they should be coming back in just the next few minutes. Then we have Quentin Smith, who is in the courtroom today, and he's watching the trial. He will be reporting on it tonight and giving us all of the updates on it, kind of give you a brief overview of what has happened today in the jail cell, or in the courtroom. You will be able to, though, watch it live here. We're streaming on Facebook, we're streaming on our website, and of course on YouTube. So we do appreciate you guys tuning in here, and they're going to be coming back in just a moment. Again, I want to show you the two people who incredibly sadly lost their life that day. So we have Jordan Spann here. He's 27. He was 27 years old when he lost his life. He was shot allegedly by Jordan Cummons at that parade. Then we have Aubrey Jubilee Simpkins. She was 23 years old, and she was shot that day allegedly by this man, Jordan Cummons, who has been indicted on 2 first-degree murder charges. And today the jury is there and is hearing the case. Prosecution believes they're going to call about 50 witnesses to the stand, and the defense says they only plan on calling 2 people to the stand. It could be more, could be different. I don't know. But that's what they were told yesterday. They told us yesterday. Let's see. Sharon Melvin said, justice for my cousin Josh Spann. Sharon, I'm sorry for your loss. I am sorry for your loss. You're in our thoughts. Your family is. So Justin Joy, he said here, Sharon Melvin, absolutely, he didn't deserve to go like that. I hope they give him life and he never sees the daylight again. Well, that's why we are following it here. It is following the justice system. He's got the jury before him, jury of his peers, and we're going to watch and see what happens. And hopefully it falls the right way. So Cummins was initially denied bond when he was arrested back in March, but then they granted him bond later, and then they revoked that bond because he failed to keep the terms of his bond. He was seen with another defendant in this case, Jenny Lukens, and he was also breaking the curfew. His curfew was from 9 p.m. until 6 a.m. So then his bond got revoked, and he was put back in to custody, or taken back into custody. So now today the jury is here. They were picked out yesterday. We have 6 men, 6 women, and 2 alternatives, and both of those alternatives are women. So the first to take the stand this morning, was Ty Parker. She's with the MBI. And the second was Jordan Jagger. And Jordan was testifying on what she saw that day while she was with Jordan and another group of people, Jordan Cummons, the man accused. Said there was alcohol involved. She said that she witnessed him getting violent with a female, getting physical with her, according to her testimony, and also witnessed Cummins screaming for his gun, asking, "Where's my gun? I'm going to put these expletives flat." So now we're just waiting for that court to continue. It was supposed to come back at 1:30. It is 1:30 now. So as soon as the judge comes back into the courtroom, we will be going live straight to that for you guys, so you can continue to follow this. You can see what we have here. Let's see you guys commenting. So Roy Dickerson says, "Can we get real? Any jail in this state has contraband, phones, drugs, etc. They're lucky if they stay in jail, if it's Hinds County in Raymond." Well, he was denied bond. He did get out, or he was denied bond. Then he was allowed bond, but then his bond was revoked, so he did go back to jail. But we're just waiting now. Show you guys again the individuals who lost their life that day. Focus a lot sometimes in cases like this on the criminals, but we don't want to forget about the ones who lost their lives. And we have Joshua Spann here, age 27. He was a volunteer firefighter. And we have Auden Jubilee Simpkins. She was 23 years old when she lost her life that day. We've been following this case since it happened, and the shooting happened March 25th of 2023. We reported on it that day. We've been following him getting arrested initially. He did run from police initially, but he was caught, and following everything that has happened since that day, since the trial or the arrest and the homicides happened. So we're waiting and watching for them to come back up in this trial. They're a little late right now. We're looking at 1:32. They were supposed to come back at 1:30. So we're just waiting for them. So Tamika Forrest says that she is praying for all families. That's really all you can do in a situation like this. Tamika, appreciate your comment there. As soon as they come back up. Again, this happened in March of 2023, and now we are day 1 of the trial with the jury. 6 men, 6 women, 2 alternatives. Both of the alternatives are women. Prosecution said on Monday that it could call up to 50 witnesses to stand to testify, and the defense only plans to call just 2 people. First on stand this morning was Ty Parker with the MBI, and she testified about the evidence that she collected that day and her collection process and what she saw and things of that nature. So she was there on stand first, Ty Parker, and then their second witness was Jordan Jagger, who was at the parade with this criminal, with the alleged criminal, Jordan Cummons. He has been indicted, but he has not been convicted by a jury yet. So he is still alleged. But so that's what we're at right now. Keep looking. I'm watching for you guys to see when the court feed comes back up, and we will take you straight into the courtroom there when that happens. They've been in court, started around 9 o'clock this morning, and Like I said, first on stand was Ty Parker. She was on stand until around 11. Then they took a quick recess for about 20 minutes at 11. When they came back, Jordan Jagger was then called on stand and gave her testimony. She is still on stand. She is still sworn in. She's still under oath, and she will be continuing her testimony when they come back from recess. Again, they're supposed to come back from recess at 1:30. They are a few minutes late, so we're just watching and waiting for them to come up. Jagger, am I not saying the name right, Corey? If I am saying the wrong name incorrect, I apologize. Kristen, thank you so much for your comment, and I'm sorry if I'm getting words mispronounced here. It's unfortunate that you would say that, but okay. Moves like Jagger. Okay. Well, in the earlier when they called her to the stand, they said the last name like Jagger, and so that's why I was calling it that. So I will call her correctly now, Jordan Jagger. There we go. Thank you so much for letting me know. I appreciate that. So again, the jury will be coming back in just a moment. Recess was supposed to be over at 1:35, and they are running a few minutes behind. They will be back in just a moment. As soon as they come back into the courtroom, we will take you there straight into the courtroom, and you can finish watching the trial there for the trial for day one. With the prosecution calling 50 witnesses to the stand, and here we are halfway through day one. It makes you think that this trial could go on for a while. Prosecution said they'll call more than 50, actually, and then the defense only plans to call just 2 people to the stand. So we are waiting, and I'm pretty sure that it's going to take a while to get through all of these, all of those witnesses. So again, this is the trial, or the crime happened back in March of 2023. Joshua Spann, age 27, and Auden Jubilee Simpkins, age 23. They were both shot there and lost their lives on that day. It happened right outside of the Mississippi State Fairgrounds near the Howes St. Paddy's Day parade. There was streets were full of people there watching the parade. So allegedly, Jordan shot and killed both Joshua and Auden. He was denied bond initially, and then he was indicted in May of 23 for those 2 first-degree murder charges, in which he pled not guilty to both counts. In July of 2023, the circuit judge, Faye Peterson, decided to award him a bond, a $250,000 secured bond, after his attorney, Cummons' attorneys, filed the motion for bond, saying that the client does recognize the seriousness of the offenses with which he has been charged, but firmly believes that he has vigorous, viable defenses to said charges. Well, he bonded out of Hinds County Jail, and he was transferred over to Rankin County Jail on charges of a simple assault. That happened in July of 2023. We don't have any details on the simple assault. We just know that he was then transferred to Rankin County. Well, in January of this year, Hinds County DA went before the judge asking that the bond be revoked for both Cummons and the co-defendant in this case, Jenny Lukens. So according to the assistant DA, they said, quote, "The defendant is in willful and obstinate violation of the terms of his bond release. He has knowingly, willfully, and continuously associated himself with defendant Jenny Lukens." Jenny was also indicted by the grand jury in relation to the shooting. They say that she was charged, or she was indicted for hindering prosecution with her alleged role in these deaths. So Cummons was constantly around Jenny. They have a private eye that was following him, saw him leaving her house. He was violating his curfew, which was from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. And despite the court's order that he stay away from Jenny, that he has a curfew, among other things. He was going against the bond of his curfew. I'm sorry, the terms of his bond. So the judge did ended up revoking that trial or that bond in February of this year. Now we have the jury that is here on in the jury stand awaiting 6 men, 6 women, 2 women who are alternatives for the jury. Prosecution said they could call more than 50 witnesses, and the defense only plans to call just 2. So we should be coming back up to them in just a moment. Give me 1 second, guys. As soon as we come back, or they come back, we're going to take you straight to the courtroom so that you can watch that. So Stephen Henson says that 50 witnesses seems like they are trying to oversell it. Okay, that is your opinion, and you are perfectly within your rights to have that. So Justin Wlbt, he commented here, day 1, get this done and over with. It is a clear-cut case. Give him life. Give her accessory. Well, we just have to wait and see what the jury says here. And the jury, they will be coming back up in just a moment. All right, and we are back. They have the judges on the stand now, so we are going to the courtroom.
They were asked to leave the parade.
Overruled, you may answer.
They were asked to leave the parade because he was squeezing her by her cheeks and screaming, "Give me my gun, give me my gun. I will flatline this bitch," in reference to my sister for intervening between the two.
It is not hearsay for the witness to testify as to what she observed in the encounter when the defendant was present in his own actions. The objection is noted. Ms. Ongo, may proceed.
Ms. Jagger, did you later learn that there had been a shooting?
Yes, we were made aware of a shooting.
And what did you do after you were, and where were you when you learned of that?
We were still under the tent.
And what did you do when you learned about that?
Jenny and I shared locations with one another on our iPhones. She could constantly see my location, and I could also see her location. Once I was made aware of a shooting, I instantly checked her location, and, I said that she's at home. Everything is fine. We don't have any confirmation at the moment. Let's just continue to have fun with our families.
So, Ms. Jagger, you said checks locations. Kind of explain check location on what? What does that mean?
So if you share your location with someone on your phone, then you have constant access to where they are, what they're doing. I mean, you have constant access to their whereabouts.
And you said she was at home. Where was home?
Her home was in Richland.
You've gone through what happened at the parade and what you saw Jordan Cummons doing. Do you see Jordan Cummons in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
And if you could tell us, describe what he's wearing.
He has a plaid button-up shirt.
Your Honor, may the record please reflect that the witness has identified the defendant?
Record may so reflect.
On to the victims in this case. did you know Joshua Spann or Auden Jubilee Simpkins?
I did not know Joshua Spann, and I did not know Jubilee.
And Cam Owens, I know he's a possible witness in this case. Did you know him?
I have known Cam for a very long time. He came and changed a flat tire for me probably about 10 years ago. We don't communicate regularly. If I were to see him out in public, would I speak to him? Absolutely. But we don't have a formal friendship.
And on the day of the parade, March 25th, 2023, did you see Cam that day?
No, I did not.
Okay. And did you speak to Cam that day?
No, I did not.
And did you go to the parade or anything with Cam and his group that day?
No.
Brief indulgence. I attended this.
Cross-examination.
Ms. Jagger, I wanted to ask you, did you communicate in any way with Mr. Cam Owens on the day of the parade?
No, I did not.
You did not Snapchat with him before the parade?
No, I did not.
Okay, did you Snapchat with him after the parade?
No, I did not.
Did you Snapchat with him at any point after the parade? Later?
Probably about 2 weeks later, I ended up reaching out to him, or maybe he reached out to me, and I expressed my condolences to him.
And have you communicated with Cam Owens about these proceedings?
Cam and I have talked back and forth, not regularly, just every now and then, but no, not about these proceedings.
So nothing about Jordan Cummons, nothing about Joshua Spann?
Only the fact that he missed his brother.
And have you spoken or have you communicated with Cam Owens about your testimony today?
No, I have not.
And I know you were asked this, but how long have you known Cam Owens?
I have known him for a very long time. Like I said, he came and changed a tire for me about 10 years ago. And that was the last time that I saw him up until recently.
And are you aware that Cam Owens is one of the state's primary witnesses?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I want to go back to the tent incident that you were testifying to earlier. You testified that there was an altercation between Jordan Cummons and Jenny Lukens, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So at any time, was there a altercation where you, Jenny, Jordan, and Brooke were all fighting?
No.
Not physically, but a verbal altercation between the four of you.
The verbal altercation was between Brooke and Jordan when she intervened on him squeezing her cheeks.
How far away, where were you positioned in the tent from where they were?
I was probably 3.5 feet away.
Okay. And how many people would you say were in that tent?
If I had to guess, there were probably about 15 or 20 people underneath the tent.
Okay. And this may be difficult to remember, but remember what side, was it a large tent? Was it two tents up against one another?
I believe it was 2 tents up against one another, yes.
Okay, and you did testify that there was alcohol consumption taking place at the tent, correct?
Yes, there was.
Okay, and do you recall if there was any such as anything being ingested, such as marijuana?
My sister Brooke will testify that there was marijuana going around.
So sustain, you can only testify to what you know.
Okay.
The jury will ignore that response.
I did not. I was unaware of marijuana under the tent.
Okay. Do you have any knowledge of any other illicit drug use at the tent?
No.
Had you yourself ingested any medications that day?
Yes, I do take medications.
Okay, could you explain what those medications are, please?
Sustain.
Um,
Sustain, you don't have to answer.
Okay. What do you take medication for?
Sustain.
Are you on medication today?
Sustain.
I want to go back. You did an interview with Capitol Police. Remember that, correct?
I do.
Okay. You stated somewhere in your interview that Cam Owens may have known about the altercation between Jenny and Lucas.
Okay, he didn't finish his question. Don't answer until I hear the entire question. What was your entire question? Mr.
The entire question was, in your interview, you stated that it may have been true that Cam Owens knew about the altercation at the tent between Jenny and Jordan Cummons.
Okay, I'm gonna sustain the objection because there's a lack of a predicate even in asking that. I don't know what interview you're referring to, who she spoke to, what. And then two, also, there is a second issue of asking the will of hearsay because you're asking her to testify as to what someone else may or may not have known. She can't testify as to someone else's state of mind.
Okay. Your Honor, we're going to,
You can lay a predicate for your questions and try again, but for now, in the form that the question is being asked, the objection is sustained.
yes, ma'am, and we're going to try to introduce her. We need to.
Well, you have to lay a predicate for all of that, counsel. So we need to.
Ms. Jagger, you gave an interview, correct?
I did.
Okay, do you know when that interview took place?
April 11th or 14th.
Okay, what was the interview concerning?
The interview was concerning the events that took place underneath the St. Paddy's Day Parade and the events leading up to the St. Paddy's Day Parade.
Okay, and who took your interview?
I met with Miss Gwen, and I met with Mr. Brad, and then I met with Investigator McGee at Capitol Police Department.
Okay, and you're meeting Ms. Gwinago and Mr. Brad McCullough?
Yes, to give an initial statement, and they were the ones that sent me to Capitol Police.
That interview that has been disclosed and is in evidence.
What says the state?
We would object as the interviews you're saying, there's been nothing to impeach that was going on underneath these actions. You can approach.
I'm gonna sustain the objection. There's been no impeachment of this witness. She's here. You may ask any questions that you want, but a witness statement just doesn't come in that form, counsel. You can either use it to
Okay.
refresh or impeach.
I'll ask this question.
Objection to be sustained.
Ms. Jagger, the question I want to ask is, did Cam Owens, before the shooting, did he know about the altercation between Jordan Cummons and Jenny Lucas?
Just a
I
moment.
would not know.
Just a. Sustained, the witness cannot testify about another person's statements or actions. So unless you have some questions that would have placed her with Mr. Owens prior to the shooting or whatever this case is about, the witness can't testify to that.
Well, Judge, she is now denying that she made a
Counsel,
statement that she made in an
the
interview.
objection is sustained. And I will remind you, if you notice the court directing you not to answer, please do not.
Proceed.
You can.
All right. Okay, Ms. Jagger, did you testified that Jordan Cummons requested his firearm? Remember that at the tent?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Okay, you testified earlier that that Jordan Cummons told someone to give him his gun.
Yes, absolutely. He was screaming it.
Okay, and did you see that firearm?
I did not.
Okay, did you see a firearm at all during your time around Jordan Cummons and Jenny Lukens?
They both carried firearms with them, yes.
Okay, but did you see them carrying firearms that day?
No, I did not see it that day.
Okay. All right, and you testified earlier that that Ms. Lukens left with Jordan, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And did she leave on her own? Did he make her leave, or did she leave voluntarily with him?
Her response to leaving was that she had to go.
But they did come together, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and they came in there, at least Jordan's car, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right, what other witnesses are going to testify? I think you mentioned your sister Brooke, but what other witnesses would testify that an altercation took place between Jordan Cummons and Jenny Lukens?
What's your objection?
Speculation, how would she know who to say?
Just speculation is sufficient. I'll ask you to rephrase your question, counsel, because it's actually rather broad and convoluted. So if you would sustain this to the form of the question.
Yes, ma'am. Did anyone else witness this altercation, the specific altercation? To your knowledge, did anyone else witness the altercation besides you and Brooke?
Absolutely. They most certainly did.
Okay, and who was that?
Jacob Lofton.
And who was he?
I'm the tent owner. We were under his tent.
Okay, and who else?
Brooke McFarland, my sister.
And just those two?
There were multiple more, but I don't believe that they are going to testify here.
All right.
But I could provide a lot of documentation.
So why did you wait over a year to make a statement to the police about it?
Initially, Jenny's brother, Hayden Lukens, gave me Investigator McGee's phone number, and I called him and I let him know exactly what happened during that
You're objecting to
time.
hearsay, Your Honor?
You
I let
can't
him-
object, just a moment. You can't object to
Talking
your
about what
own
someone
witness.
else said.
The question you asked for some detail, but he asked you why you waited over a year to come forward with your information. And I think she was trying to explain why and who she contacted. But I'll allow counsel to ask your next question.
You did wait over a year to speak to law enforcement about what happened, correct?
No, I did not. I called Investigator McGee about 2 weeks after it had happened, and I explained to him what I saw under the tent. And I'm sure that he was bombarded with phone calls and trying to deal with it, that he never got back with me. But I also, when I did meet with Investigator McGee, I also let him know that, hey, I'm the one that called you and was talking to you about the events prior to the incident.
So did you make any further attempts? You said you made an attempt after 2 weeks. Did you make any other attempts after that to contact Investigator McGee?
Why would I make another attempt? He said that he would reach back out to me.
Okay.
I made an attempt. I made a statement, a verbal statement.
And did you So your interview was in April, correct?
I believe so.
Okay. Did you contact someone to set it up, or did they contact you to set it up?
Miss Gwen and Mr. Brad are the ones that set that up for me, because I spoke with them, gave them my statement, and then they sent me to Capitol Police to speak with Investigator McGee.
So they contacted you?
Yes, they did,
Okay.
after you sent me a subpoena.
Okay. So they contacted you and sent you a subpoena?
You sent me a subpoena.
Okay. So you got one from me, you got one from them?
Yes.
Okay. So you were not going to make a statement. It doesn't sound like, because you hadn't been contacted.
Counsel, rephrase. She may answer the question whether you were going to make a statement.
You were not, did you make any attempt on your own in April to contact Detective McGee on your own accord?
On my own accord, no, I did not, because I had already contacted Investigator McGee 2 weeks after the incident took place.
So this critical piece of information that you're testifying about today had to wait over a year for you to give it an interview. Correct, right?
I was obviously never a significant person in your list of people, because Miss Gwen and Mr. Brad never even knew anything about me and the events that took place underneath the parade until I called the courts in reference to your subpoena, which is how they were able to get my number and call me and contact me to come in and give a statement.
Okay, so you're stating that because of the subpoena that I had issued and served, you reached out about the subpoena to Ms. Ago?
No, I called the courts and I reached out to the courts, the circuit clerk, and I spoke with the circuit clerk about, what I needed to do. I'm a full-time mom. I do not get any government assistance. I'm a single mom and I have a household to maintain. How would I be able to afford an attorney?
Okay, so the bottom line is, this important piece of information, you did not make known.
Sustained. You've asked that question at least 4 times, counsel. Move on to another area of examination.
Jagger, I have just a few more questions for you. Have you seen Jordan and Jenny get in a physical altercation before?
I have not seen them get into a physical altercation other than the one at the St. Paddy's Day Parade.
Have you spent time with them together pretty good bit before the St. Patrick's Day Parade?
So I probably saw Jenny maybe 3 times in the last 6 months prior to the St. Paddy's Day Parade.
And was it your understanding that, had you heard of any physical altercations between the two? Not that you saw, but that you may have, did you hear of any altercations between the two?
There were multiple phone calls that Jenny called me screaming and crying.
But that didn't involve physical altercation, or it did?
Her claim is that it most definitely did.
And how long have you known, I think you testified to this a little bit earlier, but how long have you known Jenny and Jordan?
Did not meet Jordan until Jenny Lickens until Jenny Lickens actually got into a relationship with him. I have known Jenny well over 10 years, but Jenny and I did not actually form a friendship until about 2019.
And how long have you known Jordan? About a year?
About a year, yeah. Once they got together, and it was the first time that I met him.
Have you ever seen him act violently during that year, besides St. Patrick's?
Not physically, no.
Have you ever seen him display a gun during that year that you knew him?
He always had his gun.
But did you see him display it, like hold it and point it to someone?
No.
Okay, Ms. Jagger, did you tell Investigator McGee that Cam had knowledge of the domestic event between Jordan and Jenny?
Yes, Your Honor. Sustained and testifies to what somebody else knew, and I'm not going to admonish counsel again.
Just one last question, Ms. Jagger. Did any of the altercations that you're aware of between Jordan and Jenny end up with someone discharging a firearm?
And not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay. That's all I have.
Any redirect?
On cross just now, defense counsel asked if you had heard about physical altercations between Jenny and Jordan. What did you heard about?
Jenny would call me crying, saying that, he choked her out. She also would admit that she would punch him in the face. These were in front of her kids. There were multiple times that she wanted him out of the house.
Just a moment. Overruled. Counsel opened the door on whether or not she knew of any physical violence in the state. Clarifying that issue. You can make your statements in the form of you learned of through her, but not what she said, what you learned of. All right, go on, proceed, Ms. Ago.
You were finishing, you said you learned that he had choked her out in front of her kids, that she had hit him before, and what else did you learn?
I learned that she wanted him out of the house, probably every 2 weeks, because they were constantly fighting. I learned that they were constantly going through one another's phones. I learned that they were a very toxic, trauma-bonded couple. I learned that he isolated her.
And you said you hadn't seen her for 6 months prior to this?
No. I saw her maybe 3 times 6 months prior.
And before this, how often would you see her before she dated him?
Weekly. We would go out for brunch. We would go out for lunch. We would go get our nails done, our eyebrows done. And we would even have sleepovers sometimes.
And did that change after she met Jordan Cummons?
Absolutely.
What changed?
She stopped coming around as much. She stopped talking to me as much. I feel like she started losing a lot of weight. She was throwing up every morning.
Thank you, Ms. Jagger. No further questions.
May this witness be excused.
You would like her to remain excused, Your
All right, Mr. Jagger, you are still under subpoena, which means you cannot discuss any positive testimony with any of the witnesses in this case, and you're not allowed to remain in the courtroom. If they need to call you back as a witness, they will call you and let you know that you would have 30 minutes to come back to the courthouse.
Yes, ma'am.
You excuse.
Is there any way that I could get like a printout for her, just stating that?
Yes, Ms. Jackson, you get a, you see the lady there, she'll meet you in the hallway with me.
Thank you.
All right, who do you have next?
State Constable Brooke McFarland.
Ms. McFarland, if you'll come on around and just stand by the witness box for just a moment. My administrator, Ms. Jackson, is going to swear you in. So once you are seated, I want you to pull that microphone kind of close to me. I know the jury's over there, but you need to speak into it because if you speak sideways, everyone can hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, very good. You comfortable?
I am.
Mr. McCullough?
Thank you. Could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Brooke McFarland.
And where do you live?
I live in Jackson, Mississippi.
Where do you work, Brooke?
I am employed at Mugshots Grill and Bar in Pearl, Mississippi.
What do you do there?
I'm a key hourly manager.
I want to direct your attention to March 25th, 2023. Do you remember that day?
Yes.
What day was that?
It was a Saturday.
All right. What event was happening in Jackson?
No, the St. Patrick's Day Parade.
I want you to go back in your mind and tell me about the day. How did the day start? Kind of take the jury through that.
At the time, I still lived with my sister in Richland, so I woke up at her house.
And let me ask you, who is your sister?
Jordan Jagger. So we woke up together and we started getting ready. Jenny was going to come over so Jordan could do her hair and her makeup.
And you say Jenny. Who is Jenny?
That was her best friend,
What was her last name?
Jenny Lukens.
All right. Continue.
So I got ready in my room. Jenny and Jordan got ready in her bathroom. We probably took like 45 minutes to get ready, maybe. As soon as we got done, Jenny left our house to go back to her house to go pick up Jordan Cummons.
And who was Jordan Cummons to Jenny?
That was her boyfriend.
Now, how long had you known Jenny Lukens?
I have known Jenny for maybe 3 years.
Were you close?
We did get close, we did.
And did you know Jordan Cummons?
I knew that was her boyfriend, but I did not know him.
Had you ever met him before that day?
No.
Did you notice anything different or unusual about your friend Jenny Lukens once she started dating Jordan Cummons?
She stopped coming around much. And when she did come around, she really wasn't as talkative. Her personality was not the same. She wasn't as bubbly as she usually was.
Who says the state?
But I do think it's relevant to show this witness's impression of her friend Jenny Lukens.
I'm going to give you some leeway, but not a lot of latitude. She may answer.
Okay. She just wasn't herself anymore. She stopped coming around. She was losing weight.
You don't have to object twice to the same thing, counsel. Our witness was allowed to answer. She may finish her answer. Ms. McFarland?
I didn't see her as much. I just didn't see her. She didn't come around anymore.
So after you did, I think you said you were getting ready for the parade. Did all of y'all go together to the parade? How did that work?
We did not. I rode with my sister Jordan, and Jenny did leave our house to go pick up Jordan from her house. So they rode together. We met at.
Okay, hold on a second. Just so I understand, you went with your sister, Jordan Jagger,
Yes.
and then Jenny Lukens went home
Yes.
to do what?
To go pick up Jordan Cummons.
Okay. And did you meet up anywhere?
We did. We met up at
the liquor store off Fortification. I don't know the name of it, but it's right by that bar. Finnegan's, I believe.
Okay.
Um,
Did you go inside?
I did, yes.
Who all went inside?
Me, my sister Jordan, and Jenny went inside.
Did Jordan Cummings go inside?
No.
Do you remember what everybody got, if you remember?
I do. Me and my sister got the ingredients to make green teas, which is Jameson, peach schnapps, and sour mix. Jenny wanted to get something fruity, so I think we got like some rum and maybe orange juice for her, and she also got some Crown Royal for Jordan Cummins.
Now, you said Jordan Cummings did not go into the liquor store?
He did not.
How was the, for lack of a better word, how was the vibe that day?
It was good between me and my sister Jordan. As soon as we got to the liquor store, he didn't get out. It was off. It was off with him for sure.
Did you observe any interaction at the liquor store?
When me, Jenny, and my sister Jordan walked out, my sister Jordan did walk up to Jordan Cummins' car to try to speak to him, and he did not roll the window down. So she just came back to our car, and that was the only interaction there was.
Now, did you say what Jenny Lukens bought?
I think some rum and orange juice, and then a Crown Royal for Jordan.
How much Crown Royal, do you know?
I don't know the exact size. It was just a standard bottle.
What'd you do after the liquor store?
We went across the street to McDade's. They have a mural. My sister wanted to go take pictures. So we all rode over there in our separate cars. Me, my sister Jordan, and Jenny got out to take pictures with my niece Hayden. Jordan Cummins did get out, but he did not interact with us. He didn't take any pictures with us or anything like that.
What did you do after McDade's?
We left to go to the parade.
And you just drove to the parade? Who did you drive with?
My sister Jordan drove. I rode with her, and Jordan Cummins and Jenny Lukens rode in their car.
All right, and where did you go?
We went to the parking lot to park in so we can go ahead and walk up to the parade.
All right, did you see anything or hear anything significant in the parking lot?
I know when I was, at the time this happened, I was a bartender, so I was making everybody's drinks. I was making mine, Jordan, my sister Jordan, and Jenny's drinks. I was standing on the passenger side up front, and they were standing towards the back, and I did hear Jordan Cummins tell Jenny, "Here, put my gun in your bag." But I didn't see it, I didn't look up.
Overruled. May proceed.
I did hear him tell her, "Put my gun in your bag." I didn't look up. I just continued to pour my drinks. I live in Jackson. It wasn't anything unusual.
And where did y'all go once you got to the parade out of the parking lot?
We walked up the road. I'm really not good with street names, but I know we walked up the road. We did have to jump over a railing over a bridge to get to the tent that we were at directly across from Martin's. So it was probably like a 10-minute walk.
Do you know whose tent it was?
It was Jacob Lofton's tent.
What type of people? What was the atmosphere of the tent?
It was a lot of families. There was a lot of children under there. It was a lot of just young people, just families, kids.
And was everybody drinking?
Yes, people were drinking.
And you were drinking, I guess?
I was.
Was Jenny Luken drinking?
She's not a big drinker, but she was taking a couple of sips of her drink, yes.
What about Jordan Cummings? Did you see him drink?
I did.
What was he drinking?
He had the bottle of Crown.
Okay, when you said he had the bottle of Crown, how was he drinking?
He was drinking it straight out of the bottle.
How was he acting? How was Jordan Cummings acting when y'all first got to the tent?
When we first got to the tent, everybody was acting great. Like everybody was in a good mood. Everybody was having a good time. Nothing was really going on. At that point, when we got there, nobody had a problem.
How long did that mood last?
I'd say about an hour, maybe an hour and a half.
And what's the first thing that maybe got the mood off?
Jordan Cummons threw his arm over my sister's shoulders, and his hand, I guess, was a little close to her boob. And Jenny saw that, and Jenny got very upset, and that's what threw everything off.
And when you said threw it off, what happened?
They instantly started fighting. And when I looked over at them, Jordan Cummons had Jenny Lukens against the pole of the tent in the corner, and he had her by her cheeks, and he was squeezing her. And when I was walking over there, I heard him tell her, "Bitch, you wanted me to get along with."
Overruled.
He said, "Bitch, you wanted me to get along with her."
She is stating, counsel, the reason the court is overruling your objection is because she's describing events that she saw and heard, and the statements were statements made by the defendant in this case, and it is not hearsay. Your objection is noted for the record.
He said, "Bitch, you wanted me to get along with her. That's what I'm doing." And at that point, she couldn't say anything. He had her jaw. So that's when I stepped in and I got in between them and I made him back up from her. And I said, "If you want to be her man, then act like it. Because right now you're acting like a bitch." And you could see it in his face. His whole face dropped. He got very mad at that. And he told Jenny, "Give me my gun so I can flatline this bitch right now."
Once again, if it is still, she's involved in a conversation with the defendant that is not hearsay, the witness may testify. Overruled.
So as soon as he said that, the
However,
people who
Ms. McFarland, you may not testify as a narrative. Counsel, do you have any other questions?
Yes, ma'am. Now, the person you saw grabbing Jenny Lukens by the face and threatening you, is he in the courtroom today?
he is.
Could you point him out?
He is right over there.
What's he got on?
He has a plaid button-up shirt on.
Would the record reflect the witness has identified the defendant?
Record may so reflect.
Once he said the flatline, the bitch line, what did he do?
As soon as that came out of his mouth, the person whose tent it was, instantly came over there and told him to leave.
Did Jenny give him the gun at that point?
No.
And when you say he had her by the face, what exactly does that mean?
It was just like this.
And where, I know it's hard, only if you remember, whereabouts in the tent was it? Was it out in the open? Was it?
We were out in the open. The tent was over here. Martin's is over here. So if we're facing Martin's, they were on the left side of the front of the corner of the tent.
You said in the corner?
Yes.
And you said Jacob Lofton told him to leave?
Yes.
Did you say anything to Jenny Lukens?
I did. Me and my sister Jordan did try to pull her to the side to get her to stay. We begged her to stay, and she did not. She did not want to stay. She said she had to go.
And what did you?
Now, that would be hearsay, but I'll allow it overruled, but no further.
What did you take that statement to mean, I had to stay, or I have to go? Is that what you said?
I'm going to sustain that. As to Ms. Lukens, it is sustained, but not as to the defendant and any impression she had of his behavior, that would be admissible. But as to any other person, it is not.
Yes, ma'am. What was your impression?
Counsel, I can hear you at the bench.
When she said, I have to leave, what was your impression of the defendant's conduct at this point?
I felt like she had to go, or else the situation would have went worse for her.
Witness may testify is at the moment that while things were unfolding and she's allowed to testify as to her own impression of the events at that moment.
So if you can just repeat what you said, I really didn't get to hear it.
I feel like she said that because if she did not go with him, it would have been worse.
And you're talking about the altercation between her and,
Yes.
now, when they left, do you know about what time they left?
I want to say around 12:30, 12:45.
And did it sometime later you learn something had happened at the parade possibly?
Yes.
All right, explain that.
About 30 minutes later, I was playing beer pong with a couple people, and the person that was my partner gets a phone call, and he turns to me and says, "Jenny is dead."
I'm going to sustain that. She can testify as to later what she learned, but not what someone else said. Sustain.
What did you learn? What did you eventually learn happened?
I learned that there was a shooting that did take place.
Did you know, well, let me ask you this. Were you present at the shooting of Joshua Spann
No,
and Jubilee Simpkins?
no.
Do you know Joshua Spann?
I do know him, yes.
Okay, how do you know him? What's the nature?
I knew him through this, like, we had the same group of friends, but I never, like, personally met him. I never, like, hung out with him.
What about Jubilee Simpkins?
I did not know her.
Did you know Cam Owens?
I do.
Did y'all speak frequently?
No.
And you said you did not go to the parade and actually see the shooting, correct?
No, I did not see the actual shooting happen.
Can I have just a moment, Your Honor?
You may.
Did you talk to Cam that day?
No.
What was your reaction when you found there had been a shooting?
I was devastated. I started crying, actually.
Sustain. Move on, counsel.
So just to be clear, did you see Cam at all that day?
No.
You didn't see him after the parade or any of that?
No.
No more questions?
Cross-examination.
Ms. McFarland, do you have any direct knowledge of the shooting itself?
No.
When did you, well, let me ask you this first. Did you communicate in any way with Cam Owens on March 25th, 2023?
No.
Did you communicate with Cam Owens about the shooting at all after March 25th, 2023?
No,
That you've never had a communication with them about the specifics of the shooting?
no,
Did you ever tell Cam Owens about the incident that you're testifying about that took place as a 10th?
no,
Okay. Did you tell, before your interview, which I believe was in April, did you reach out to law enforcement about the incident that you testified to earlier?
no. I knew my sister was.
Okay. And so you're testifying today about an incident of domestic violence, but you didn't find it important enough to go to law enforcement and talk about it until just recently, correct?
No,
So why didn't you reach out to law enforcement earlier than April of this year to tell them about a incident between Jordan Cummons and Jenny Lucas?
because I knew that my sister Jordan was reaching out to them, and as soon as she got in contact with them, I knew that I would be going with her anyway. They were going to hear my statements anyway.
So you just left it to your sister to handle?
Yes.
How long have you known Cam Owens?
I have known Cam Owens for probably around 10 years.
And does he know you're testifying today?
Yeah, probably.
How does he know?
He did see me up there, so
And have y'all communicated about it?
no.
Let's go back to the scene at the tent. You said there was alcohol consumption.
Yes.
Okay, what alcohol did you consume?
I consumed Jameson peach schnapps. That's the only liquor.
How much?
Just 1 cup.
Ma'am,
Just 1 cup. We poured it at the car, and we did not carry it with us to the tent.
were there any other substances taken that day?
Yes.
What were those?
I did smoke weed at the parade. But other than that, no,
Where did you smoke weed?
at the parade.
At the parade.
Mhm.
Okay, were you smoking it at the tent?
No,
Where did you smoke it?
I hid it at the car before we went up there.
Okay, so you were under the influence of marijuana when you went to the tent?
Yeah.
Okay, so what did you use? Did you use what kind of paraphernalia did you use?
That objection, counsel, unless you have a reason to ask, they'll be sustained.
So you were under the influence of marijuana at the time that you were at the tent?
Yes,
Then you were under the influence of marijuana when the incident that
So
you're,
I overruled, the witness has testified that she did consume some marijuana before he may answer.
so were you under the influence of marijuana when this alleged incident took place between Jordan and Jenny?
yes,
Were you under the influence of any other substances that day?
no,
Were you under the influence of any medication?
no,
Objection, Your Honor.
As the medication sustained,
That's all we have, Judge.
any redirect?
Just read. Ms. McFarland, where did you get the marijuana that day?
Overruled, sustained. She does not have to answer that question, counsel.
Were you the only one smoking marijuana?
no.
Who else was?
Jordan Cummons was.
And he was drinking the liquor,
Yes,
the whole bottle?
yes.
No more questions.
May this witness be excused. All right, Ms. McFarland, you are still on the screen. If you decide that any portion of testimony that any of the witnesses in this case, you're subject to recall that you will be
Thank you.
Who do you have next?
This time the city called Jacob Lofton.
Jacob Lofton. Mr. Lofton, if you'll just come around and remain standing for just a moment, I'm going to have the lady that's standing there to swear you in, and then you can be seated. All right, after you're seated, I want you to put that microphone comfortably. You'll have to try to speak into it so the jury can hear you. Just say test for me.
Test.
You've got a good voice. All right, Ms. Argo, you may proceed.
Mr. Lofton, please introduce yourself to the jury.
Hello, I'm Jacob Lofton. Nice to see everyone.
Make sure you speak, I think you're a little hard to hear. Make sure you speak into the microphone.
Nice to see everyone. My name is Jacob Lofton. Hello.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Mr. Lofton, if you could, I want to go back to March 25th, 2023, the Hallowell St. Paddy's Day Parade. Do you remember that day?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
And were you at the parade that day?
Absolutely.
Do you go to the parade often?
Every year.
And what is your setup at the parade?
We like to bring out, me and my buddy, we bring out 2 tents. We start tents up, cornhole, beer pong, the grill. I mean, we make a day out of it.
Okay.
Very loud, just a little loud.
I'm sorry. I can't talk loud. My voice is messed up.
Okay. So, Mr. Lofton, so you said y'all make a
A day out of it. Yes, ma'am.
And y'all have your own tent?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So on March 25th, 2023, you were at the Paddy's Day Parade as usual. Would that be right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the defendant, Jordan Cummons, was he at your tent that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what did you witness of his behavior? Well, before we get into that, what was the demographic of people at your tent?
We had a nice group, nice crowd, a bunch of my friends. They had their children, buddies bringing their dogs. You know, so we had a nice family gathering, I guess you would say.
And did you know Jordan Cummons prior to that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you have any issues with him?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Have you ever had any type of bad thoughts towards him?
No, ma'am.
So, Mr. Cummons was under your tent. What was his behavior under your tent?
I guess even keel, you'd say, or I had so much going on under our tents. It's hard for me to pinpoint.
Do you remember him saying anything?
To me?
No. To anyone?
Yes, I remember the altercation between him and Brooke, and you know that's what caught my attention. You know, I didn't think much of it though, because everybody was drinking, having a good time, and then I witnessed him getting his girlfriend's face, calling her out her name.
And when you say call her out her name, what
Bitch,
did
shut the fuck up, this and that. And maybe this is my responsibility, my. Do it.
Just a moment. Overruled, the witness is testifying as to what he heard the defendant say while on the scene at the incident under the tent. The witness may testify. It's not hearsay. You may proceed.
So you stated that you saw him get into his girlfriend's face. That would be the defendant, Jordan Cummons.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you heard him say, was it, bitch, shut the fuck up?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you hear him say anything else?
Prior to that, he was saying the same to him. Brooke was in her face. It was like, something about giving me my gun. I'll flatline this bitch right now. And then.
What did you, when you heard that, like you said, this is your tent,
Right.
what did you do?
I mean, I didn't do nothing. I sat back and just continued doing what I was doing until, you know, it just continued. And then he got into his girlfriend's face and was, you know, continuously raising his voice, speaking out of turn. So I asked him, please get the fuck out of my tent.
So you threw him out of your tent?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And why did you do that?
Because we're having a good time. It's a family setting, you know, kids around. No need for none of that.
And the person that you threw out of your tent that day, who was calling his girlfriend out of his name and screaming about a gun, do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes,
And what is he wearing?
wearing a plaid shirt.
Your Honor, may the record please reflect that the witness has identified the defendant.
Record may so reflect.
And were you present at all during any of the shooting that actually took place?
No, I don't know anything about that.
Did you know any of the victims in this case?
I know Josh. I do know Josh.
Mhm. And were y'all close?
Well, not close. I would, somebody that if I see in public, I'm gonna shake his hand. We're gonna show respect. I consider a buddy,
Okay.
but we're not close, no.
No further questions.
All right. Any cross-examination?
Yes, sir. I have just a couple questions for you. So it sounds like what you're describing is that there was a verbal altercation between Brooke and Jordan.
Correct.
Okay, and then Jordan Jagger, you know her, correct?
Correct.
Okay, was she part of that,
She was not part of none of that verbal, no, sir.
sir?
No, sir.
Okay. So what you witnessed was Brooke and Jordan Cummons having some sort of verbal exchange, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Do you recall if Jordan put his hands on Brooke?
No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go too far as to say that. If he did, I didn't see that.
You didn't see that? Okay.
No, sir.
Did you witness Jordan Cummons put his hands on Jenny Lucas?
I wouldn't say that as much as maybe his hand in her face, more just in her, you know,
Okay, so
in her face. I don't want to say I seen something that I didn't see. So
yes, sir. I appreciate that. Did you see him grab, he being Jordan Cummons, did you see Jordan Cummons grab Jenny Lucas by the face?
no, sir. Maybe by the arm to pull her close to his face.
Okay. Do you know Jenny Lucas?
No, sir. I know of her. I don't know her. No, sir.
Okay, so I just want to be clear. You did see him grab her by the arm. Were they about to leave? Is that?
No, they weren't about to leave until I told them to get the hell out of my tent.
But your testimony is that you did not witness him grab her by the face.
I personally did not see that.
Where were you in proximity when you finally had enough and said y'all got to go? Where were the parties that, you know, everyone that we're talking about, Brooke, Jordan Cummons, Jenny, where in the tent were they located?
Well, you gotta understand, this is, 10 feet of tent with 20 people plus, and it's very rambunctious. So I can't say where everybody exactly was, where I'd be lying. But I know I was at the back of my tent, let's say 3-4 feet behind what was going on within the verbal altercation, from what I see.
So is your tent, is it right up there on the sidewalk?
We'll say
Parking lot behind you?
4 feet from the gates. So there was a little space where people could walk through, or all my friends would step forward and catch beads.
Okay, so y'all are right there on the sidewalk, not all the way to the barricades. They never go that far.
Correct.
And then you have your parking lot. Is that a parking lot behind you?
Yes, sir. That is a parking lot.
Okay. So do you recall seeing Jordan cornering Jenny up against one of the tent posts?
Yes, sir. That's approximately where I told him to leave.
But again, you did not see him grab her by the face.
I didn't see that personally.
Okay. Did you hear him say anything about grabbing a gun?
I heard him ask for his gun so he could flatline Brooke.
Okay, so you heard that yourself.
But in the midst of everything, I didn't think anything of it. You know, I'm thinking they're just mad at each other, having a, you know, just a disagreement, and he's just speaking.
So you
In a
took
drunk
that as kind of
sense.
like a figure of speech?
Just a
Right.
moment. My court reporter cannot record two people speaking at the same time.
I apologize.
So I need counsel to let him finish before you ask the next question.
Let's start.
Well, not over. Start where you left off. He just testified that he didn't think much of it when he made the comment.
Right. Thank you, Judge. All right, so you did not take that comment seriously?
No, sir.
And you didn't feel that there was a real threat?
No, sir.
Okay, and you didn't feel that Jenny Lucan's life was in danger?
No, sir.
Okay. Did you feel like anybody else in the tent's life was in danger?
Sir, we were having an awesome day. I felt like everybody was having a good time.
Okay, okay. And you wanted to
I
keep
was
that,
having a great time, so.
and you wanted to keep that
Correct.
good time going?
Absolutely.
Okay, and so they were having an argument, correct?
That's right.
Okay, and you asked them to leave,
That's right.
and did they leave willingly?
Yes, actually, I did.
Did Jordan get up in your face about it?
No, he did not. He said, okay, my bad.
So no problems there. He
No, sir.
left as requested,
Yes, sir.
and that was the end of it.
That was that.
And he didn't come back.
No, sir.
Didn't tell you to
No,
step off or anything like that.
no, we had also a mutual respect too, so it was, okay, you're 10. Have a good one. See you later.
Had you had any interaction with just you and Jordan Cummons?
No,
Okay, so he was a guest that you really didn't get a chance to.
other than, you know, like I said, see each other, shake each other's hand, it's a mutual respect. A buddy of mine, actually, type thing. Never been great fans, but I would have considered him a buddy.
Okay, you would
Would have, yeah.
considered Jordan Cummons a buddy?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because, like I said, we, through mutual friends, we grew up, I wouldn't say it just a friendship, but it was a buddy of mine.
So Jordan Cummons was a friend, buddy of yours?
Buddy,
Okay,
a friend is a broad word I wouldn't use.
okay. So he understood and respected your request.
Yes, sir.
Okay. One second. All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Any redirect? Mr. Lofton, you said that there was a lot going on in your tent. Were you watching Jenny and Jordan the whole time?
No, I'm not there to babysit.
Okay. And what caught your attention to even look over at Jenny and Jordan?
The loud outburst, that bitch, shut the fuck. I noticed what's going on. I heard this violent comments that was just inappropriate in the function that we were having.
So when you heard him screaming, "Bitch, shut the fuck up,"
It started with him saying Brooke,
Mhm.
you know, and like I said before, I didn't think much of it at that moment, but maybe 45 seconds, 60 seconds go by to where it escalates. He's in his girlfriend's face saying these things to him. That's why I told him to leave, so.
So did you actually see why, like what happened before he yelled at Brooke?
No, ma'am, I couldn't say that I did.
So you just started watching, you heard him yelling at Brooke, and then you saw him in his girlfriend's face.
Correct.
Okay. And when he yelled at Brooke, you heard him say, "Give me my gun and I'll flatline this bitch."
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay. And you weren't gonna throw him out of the tent then?
I didn't think nothing of it, no.
And when did you decide that it got to be too much?
When it continued and he's in his girlfriend's face, breathing down her nose, screaming the same stuff around a group of kids, other adults having a good time.
And you witnessed him grab her by the arm?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it light?
It was a tug, we'll say a tug.
And you asked him to leave as a result?
Yes, ma'am.
No further questions.
May this witness be excused?
Yes, sir, I'm about to say.
Mr. Lofton, you are, as the defense, may this witness be excused? Mr. Lofton, you have been excused as a majority of states, which means that we do not intend to call it. However, you cannot discuss the testimony of any persons who may have been witnesses or who may be witnesses until this case is majority of states. You understand? Okay, you are excused. It's 2:49. Let's go ahead and take our 3 p.m. break a little bit early, and I'll see you all back at 10 after 3. That gives us about 20 minutes. Okay?
All rise.
All right, court will be at recess until 10 after 3.